Hello humans, what's up and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, we shape and polish opal into cabs using a dremel, so if that's something that interests you, consider subscribing. Today we're going to be working on this super crystal clear piece of Ethiopian opal that's got some great pattern in it. There's a little bit of dirt and there are some issues with it, but should definitely be able to get something out of it. When we weigh it out, the starting weight of the stone is 4.53 carats, so definitely something to work with. And when we measure it, it is 10 millimeters by 22 millimeters by what? Must have been like 3 or 4. Anyways, when we shine a flashlight through it, you guys can clearly see that that dirt on that one side is really superficial and it's pretty gosh darn clean in there. So hopefully we'll be able to get something nice out of it. So if you guys want to see how the stone gets shaped and polished and what happens with it, keep on watching. So there's definitely some issues with this stone. It's really thin on the one side, and I really think that that is the tallest that I'll be able to get it. So you see where I'm drawing these lines with the larger pieces on it? I'm going to slice those off, and I'm going to go for a cushion cut with that part as the face. So I'm using like my little circular saw bit here, and I decided to do it inside on camera so you guys can see. And just really making sure to keep it wet and coming back every so often, being gentle with it, not pressing too hard. I'm just cutting off those ends to, you know, save me a bit of time, and maybe I could use those ends in something, like, you know, put it in a ball or something. I like to do that. And so shaping the stone, I'm starting by flattening out the top and bottom that I just sawed the pieces off of, and then I'm going in on the curved side of it to make that a bit more flat. And since we are going for a cushion cut, I'm kind of just trying to take advantage of the barrel shape of my sintered bit here. So once I got those sides nice and flat, which is actually pretty easy if you know what you're doing, and you can see I'm holding it with both sides with both hands. Anyways, once that's done, I have the side that I wanted to be the face marked, so I started beveling the edges. I could have left it as sharp edges, but you know, we always want to sort of somewhat dome that shape. And to get a real nice cushion cut, you really want to, you know, blend the edges together and get it nice and kind of rounded. And so this one was pretty straightforward. I didn't deal with any cracking issues or anything like that, and I was able to get a nice flat back and a good curved face. You know, ended up a little bit on the small side, but that'll happen. That happens so often, and it's important to try to not be disappointed with opal shaping, because I mean, if you go in there with your hopes all up high, then you're just going to be let down. I always keep my hopes down on the floor. So after it has been shaped, it is 1.24 carats, and now I'm moving on to the nova points here. And since this is such a small stone, I'm really getting a lot of shaping done on the black and the brown nova points, and for some reason I really only filmed a short little snippet of the black nova point. But basically on each nova point I go and I flatten out the back first, and then I hit all the edges of the stone, and then I start working on where the stone bevels with the edges and the face, trying to make sure that those curves are nice and smooth. And then I work in a circular motion all across the face, all across all those corners to really blend everything together and make sure it's nice and smooth. So in between each Nova point, I'm wiping off the stone on my shirt or a cloth or whatever is around, and just making sure that it looks like the right texture. So once you're done with the black Nova point, there's little pock marks in it, and then once you're done with the brown Nova point, it looks a bit more smooth but still a little hazy. And then after the gray Nova point, it has like a bit of a polish, but it looks like, I don't know, it looks a little odd and hazy for sure. And then we go through the pink Nova point, and it should be nice and polished. And you could definitely take your time on the silver and the pink Nova point to make sure that the polish is nice. And just keep in mind that you're going to be losing carats still, and try to be as careful as you can. The stone could be pretty slippery at this point, so it's important to know what you're doing. And if you're a dopper, you know, definitely do the dopping. And speaking of dopping, I definitely think I'm going to dop this one, but this is the stone before I dried it out, and you can kind of see that there's a little bit of scratches on it still, and that's totally normal, guys. Those scratches will come out on the polishing pads, and there's a little bit of dirt in the back there, and that's all fine. I knew that was happening, but when we weigh that part out, then it's 0.96 carats I'm gonna go with. And then this is it after the water weight has evaporated out of it, and you could definitely see that the colors have started to come back. So with Ethiopian Opal, when it's expelling the water, the colors become more vibrant. So a lot of times you'll end up with a really glassy piece after the water's absorbed into it, but once you let it dry out for a couple of days, all the colors come back with brilliance. But every once in a while you'll get a stone that does show off a lot of color when you've got it full of water, but the colors will still turn out more brilliant after it's dried. And then I'm moving on to my polishing pastes here, and I definitely decided to go with the dopping because I just didn't feel like dropping this one 1,000 times. You know, sometimes I don't mind it, but sometimes I'm not having it. And I use the Gorilla Glue Gel Super Glue for this, and this is also just a barbecue shish kebab skewer that I got from my local supermarket. And flipping the stone around, I'm just polishing the face of it here. And so you'll see in my footage here that I kind of skipped over the polishing of the face in a lot of it, but this one I did end up filming the face of it, and you can kind of see how I'm just twirling it around. And yeah, so for the back, I'm going more in a linear fashion, where I'm taking it and pulling back and forward and then turning it to long ways and going back and forward. But when I was doing the face of it, I was definitely moving more in a circular motion, twirling it around, and also focusing on those edges is very, very important. You want to make sure that your edges are nice and polished up, and I did most of the edge polishing on the back here. And so I did figure out a little bit that a couple stones ago, when I chipped the face of that little opal, it was because I didn't let the stone soak in the acetone for long enough for the glue to come off. So it's really important to be super patient in letting the glue dissolve in the acetone. I let it sit for 10 minutes in the stone that got chipped, but this one I let it set for more like 20 minutes. I came back and I took it off the stick, and then I tried to rub off the glue with my finger, and then when I realized that it wasn't totally coming off, I just dropped it back in the acetone, and then took it out, wiped off some more of it, dropped the back of the acetone, took it out, and wiped off some more of it. So the super glue method can be very reliable if you're just patient with the super glue dissolving in the acetone should be all good and fine and dandy and all that jazz. But the finished stone is coming up here, and I mean, will you just look at that? Isn't it freaking stunning? I mean, those colors, like the striations of color, is just fantastic. There's a little bit of chaff pattern in it. It's got great greens and blues, a little bit of orange and fuchsia, and it really dances all across the stone. Like, it's not confetti pattern, but yeah, I actually wouldn't quite know what to call this. You can see me just trying to get the surface as fingerprint free as possible here. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way that this stone turned out, and I'm really happy with the color. Overall, I couldn't be more pleased with the shape and the fact that it didn't crack with that dirt in it, because sometimes the stone will crack because you left some dirt in it. This one still hasn't cracked. It's been a few days since I filmed this little bit here, and it's still just great. So this one can handle the dirt, so that's always good to know. When we weigh out the final piece after it's dried and polished and everything, it is 0.88 carats, so pretty small, but it's beautiful. It packs a wallop. I think it'll make a real nice pendant. And then it is 7 millimeters on the long way, and on the tall way it is 9 millimeters, and then it is 3 millimeters tall, so it must have been more like 5 millimeters in the beginning of it. So overall, this was a pretty straightforward stone. There's no wacky curveballs that were thrown to me this time, and you never know when that's gonna happen. But damn, this color is great. The weight that we ended up losing overall was 3.64 carats, so you know, we lost a lot of it. But that'll happen. That's the way the cookie or the opal crumbles. And this one luckily didn't crumble on me. But yeah, that's the stone in its rough state. And then the stone when it's all finished up and polished and beautiful. And gosh, I think that this would make a great pendant or like a standalone earring, you know. These days, it's, I feel like I see more and more people with the single earring that dangles, and I think this one would be cool for that. But, man, I really do love a good cushion cut. They're so easy to hold on to, and I did dop this one, so I didn't really drop it that much, but it's super crystal clear, guys. Like, I love a good crystal clear stone, and that orange that shows up there with the green is freaking awesome, and the red is so deep. It's got like all those good colors going on. It's more of like a teal blue than like a deep blue in this one, but it has a great flash. And if you guys know what to call this pattern, let me know. I see like some chaff in there, and it's definitely like a striated pattern. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are on that. I would call this like chaff and flagstone, but if you have more information on that, let me know. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up. That'd be awesome if you did. And leave a comment if you have anything to say about this video. I almost always reply to them, so it'd be great if you would do that. Subscribe if you are not subscribed already. You know, I'm not going to pressure you or anything, but, you know, you're already here. And if you have a friend to share this with, you know, share it with a friend if you have a friend, you know, just one friend. And, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next time that I post a video. Later.